Hi, my name is S.strunk, and I am in the Addiction Counseling and Families class. Today I'm working on Module 2, and I've kept a journal for 3 days on the emotional responses that I've had on situations that have occurred in my life, and I've reflected on where my responses come from, what triggered the emotional response, if I remember similar responses from my childhood, and what this tells me about my current buttons. And on day 1, the first incident was I was offered a seat on the corporate compliance committee at my work. And I believe that not all emotional responses are bad. When I was offered this position on the corporate compliance committee, my first response was really excitement. I was really excited about being on this committee because it's something I've been working really hard for with the company I work at, and we're expanding at high rates, and I was very excited about being offered a corporate position there on the committee. And I was genuinely happy when they asked me. And then, of course, right afterwards, I was very fearful because I realized that I'm going to be involved with all of the people that are in the corporate office of our company, all these people, the big wigs, I guess we could say. So I became very fearful because I have a lot of self-doubt sometimes. And I think the self-doubt, it comes from my childhood. I had an abusive father growing up, and he always made me and my mom kind of feel like we weren't enough, that we weren't good enough. And I still can sometimes see how the past can negatively affect me when in situations like this, when I don't think I'm good enough, but I know that I truly am, and it's taken a lot of work. So my current, how it affects me currently is I do have a lot of self-doubt, and I do have a lot of thoughts of, why me? Why are they picking me? And but I tend to forget that I've worked very hard to get where I'm at, and that's why me. The incident number 2 I had was at work as well, and I had a patient that had overdosed over the weekend. And I guess I want to say that I'm numb because I've seen so many overdoses in this field, and I've seen so many people, come so far and then fall back in, in relapse. And I think my first reaction to this was I was shocked. I was really shocked because this person's done well. They've gotten their children back. They've gotten their house back. And I was kind of just like, shocked and devastated. I know not to take it personally, but, I'm in my recovery myself. So I know the struggle, and I know how hard it is to stay sober sometimes. And then, the second emotion I had from that was I was sad, because what about her kids? What about her family? What kind of pain that she was in, again, that she couldn't talk about it, that, that she wanted to go back out and use. And then, of course, I always get angry. I get angry at, heroin. I get angry at this addiction. When I was a child, my father overdosed. So, that's part of the reason, me being in recovery myself, and my father overdosing was kind of part of the reason why I became in this field. And, I know how it feels to lose a parent at a young age. So, I feel for the family. Like I said, I'm angry at heroin. I hate that heroin's destroying communities and families, and it's not getting any better no matter how much of a fight we put into it. My third incident that day was I had one of the women that I supervised, she resigned. But at first I was kind of relieved because earlier in my supervision with my supervisor, I was told that I was going to have to let her go because she wasn't meeting CARF regulations. Her documentation wasn't being turned in on time. she just wasn't performing up to our standards. In our work, we strive for excellence, at Sunrise, and she wasn't living up to that standard. We have a facility where you can't hide. So if you're not doing your work, we're going to know about it pretty quickly. Let's see. She informed me that she was going to leave in 2 weeks. And, but my boss he was prepping me. I've never had to fire anybody, so I did not want to fire somebody. So my supervisor was prepping me on how, and within the next couple weeks, how I was going to terminate her employment. My emotional response too was hurt, because I don't like to hurt other people. I don't like to hurt other people. Buster. I don't like to hurt people, and I don't want to make people feel that they're not good enough. And I think I've worked really hard on coaching her through and trying to get her, but some people are not going to get it. So, I know how it feels. When I was younger, I was kicked off the gymnastics team, and I was devastated. So I don't ever want to make anybody feel like that. But if I am going to be in a supervisor position, that I think that I need to learn how to do these things and how to make it. So I was kind of relieved when she resigned. On day 2, most of these come from my work because I work a lot. So on day 2, I had a patient relapse. Whenever somebody comes into our facility, all they have to do is be honest. There's no consequences. We don't kick them out. We work through the relapse. We work, the thing that hurts me the most is when my clients say to me, I don't want to let you down. So that hurts me, because I don't want them to stay sober because they're letting me down. I want them to stay sober because they want a better life. But so, they know to tell me before I see it for myself. So when I do the drug screen and I see it there, I kind of like, I get a little bit angry at them for not being upfront and telling me, and I have to find out this way. So this patient brought in somebody else's urine that wasn't even hers. So that made me really mad, because now she can get kicked out of the program. That is one of the things we will throw you out for, is if you bring in somebody else's urine. So I was mad and I was hurt, because I had to go spend the day fighting to be able to keep this person, when in fact all she had to do was come into me and she had to say that she used over the weekend. So we would have moved forward from there. But now I had to spend the day fighting for her and trying to keep her spot in treatment. I think this goes back, not maybe to my childhood, but I think back when I was trying to get sober and I kept lying and stuff, and I knew it was just frustrating, and I knew it was just like a never-ending battle that I was just I would use and lie, and it just felt like it was never going to end. And I wanted to be I wanted to be a better counselor for people so that they could just be honest, That same day, I actually have 2 jobs. I serve pizzas at Dewey's for extra money, because, there's good money in Dewey's. But anyway, so I had a table that was really rude to me, and I was having a rough day anyway with the patient before, and the table was rude. They sent their food back. They ordered the wrong items. It wasn't my fault. They complained. And I just want people to be happy. Like, I try to put myself, I was angry at this table because they were just giving me such a hard time, and it wasn't me. There's something in their life that's going on that has nothing to do with me, but I guess I was the person that they take it out on. So, and I have to step back, and I remember that I was not a nice person my whole life. Growing up, I was not a nice person. So I think that now I can step back and I look and I think to myself, man, I bet they're having a really bad day for them to treat me like this. So I tend to quickly get over these kinds of issues. I'm running out of time, so I have to hurry. The next one, I had conflict with my significant other. He wants to move into a house. I've lived on my alone for 3 years. I like my independence. I like being alone. I don't like to share space. So I'm having a hard time with deciding whether I should purchase this house with him or not when I'm happy and content where I'm at right now. So that was one. So I think my emotional response that comes to that is I'm hurt because I don't want to hurt him, but I also don't want to get into a situation where I'm not happy, you know, because I'm a happy person. The third day, I was offered a position on this Acumed training team. So that was another great thing that happened. Like, the good things are happening at my work all the time for me right now. And again, it goes back. This was a self-confidence booster. This made me really happy because I like training people. I really like teaching people what I know how to do. So I was happy. My response to this was just happy. The second incident that day was, I had a patient, a confirmatory came back from the lab that showed that this patient had used fentanyl. She denied it. The lab proof was there. She wouldn't admit it. Frustration was this one because the proof is right there. She was like, oh no, your lab's wrong. It's always something else, but it's not that. So I get frustrated, you know, a lot with patients. And I think this stems back to me when I was using too, because I lied, and I'm sure people were frustrated with me, so I kind of know how that can roll back around. Lastly, incident 3, I was sucked into office gossip, and I try so hard to stay away from gossip. I try. I get up when people start gossiping. I get up and walked away, and I do that because I can get sucked into gossip so fast. So I was disappointed in myself. My emotion was disappointment when I sat there and just did it. I was right in the middle of it. I pride myself on not doing it. You know, people talked about me a lot behind my back, and it doesn't feel good. So I don't like it when I do it, you know, when I fall into it and listen. But it's hard. It's hard not to want to listen and want to know what's happening. So those are my 3. I just want to say that I have, through a lot of yoga and meditation, I have learned how to really get in touch with my emotions. And I've learned something through that, you know, if you get emotions that come to your door, like Buddha says this, if you get emotions that come to your door, let them in, offer them tea, but then show them back out. So don't let your emotions stick with you. Don't let them ruin you. Learn to become friends with them. Make friends with them so you're not trying to run from them. I work on a workbook with my clients a lot for this mindful-based relapse prevention. And what it says is, you know, if you have emotions and they're eating at you and they're, you know, and you think of them like a dog. So you have this dog that's barking and barking and barking, and it's not stop barking like these back here. And they're constantly barking and they don't ever stop. You open the door, they're there, then they bite your ankles and they're always there. But if you stop and you sit down and you pet the dog will lay down. And it's similar with your emotions. So as long as you understand them, feel with them, and sit with them, your emotions aren't going to overcome you. So that's really all I have. Thanks.